Chronological Bible in a year, day 104. We continue the flight of David, pursued by Saul. He runs to the Philistines, whose hero he killed, and Goliath. Then we see him flee to the Moabites, another constant enemy of Israel. And as we could have guessed, they're not happy at the idea of playing host to Israel's war hero. He eventually is continually fleeing in the wilderness. They're hiding in ruins. And one instance, the last one we see in 24, David is hiding in a cave. Saul comes, he falls asleep in the same cave David's hiding in. David creeps up on him, and Saul's life is in his hands. Now remember, Saul was chosen by God to be king, but then God's spirit left Saul after he continually disobeyed God's commands. David was then anointed by Samuel to become the new king, and after that is when all of this is taking place. David knows he has this anointing. If it were me and this man, who also happens to be my father-in-law, weird relationship dynamic, is trying to kill me and his life is in my hands, I might say, hey, God said I'm going to be king. The old king's right here. I have a knife. I might have ended it then and there. But not David. David says, I will not harm God's anointed. Now, Saul at this point is no longer being blessed and inhabited by God's Spirit. It says God's Spirit had left him, but he was still anointed by God, and David would not harm him. Now, if we look at some of the older patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and others, we see they had a promise by God. They saw an opportunity to maybe play their role in it, and they tried, and often bad things happened. But here we see David saying, I'm going to trust in God to have this play out as he wills it. I'm excited to see what comes next in this journey of this drama between David and Saul and Jonathan and everyone else. But what we do, maybe let's ask this question: how should we go about protecting ourselves the same way David did, saying, I'm not going to seek my will, but God's will. And even if I think I can expedite God's will, but if it goes against God's character, like say murder, I'm gonna pause and step back. How can we practice a patience and faithfulness that God's will be made done? Or maybe you've had to do that. I'd love to hear examples of how you've endured that time of waiting. Let's encourage and support one another and trust God's will be done. I'm looking forward to reading more tomorrow, but until then, God bless.